So we're going to hear a lot today about facilitating, about the mindset you need to become a trainer, and the specific tools. But today right now we're going to talk about how one actually goes from doing your day job to actually becoming a trainer. I'm going to start. Okay, so we're going to shoot straight into the questions. Again, we have about 2 minutes each. My first question is, let me bring it up in my memory. All right. First question is, how did you recognize your talent for training, and what tipped you into going pro? How did you recognize that? What tipped you into going pro? Let's start with John.
I'm a lawyer by training. I worked for 11 years in one of Canada's largest full-service law firms in Toronto. I did a lot of corporate litigation and also environmental law. So I was on my feet a lot in court, in front of panels, tribunals, judges, at conferences. 1998, I had an opportunity to go to Geneva, where I currently live, to work at the United Nations on a very interesting program. I did 17 years in the UN. Along the way, after all that speaking, people would start to ask me, hey, can you help me with my presentation? Can you give me some advice here? And the more I did it, the more I started thinking, maybe this is something I could do. And so 11 years ago, after 17 years in the UN, I was thinking of the words of the American philosopher 𝗦𝗵𝗴𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍. He said, I have many lives to live and I spent enough time on this one. And so I walked away from a very good job at the World Health Organization, and the last 11 years I've been working with companies, organizations in 27 countries on 5 continents. So I've been doing that, so it is possible.
Curious how you handle applause on this. Maybe we don't.
Yeah.
It's eating up some time. It's eating up some of my 30 minutes. Let's go an hour 30 minutes. Let's go to St. Rita and give the same question.
Regarding public speaking, I've actually been doing it since the age of 5. So I started doing oration, elocution, debating from a very young age in school. Thank God for my English teacher for encouraging me. So alongside my studies and my job, my research in neuroscience, I was always working on this aspect of it was a hobby at that point. Eventually, when I started working in corporate, and I was also specializing in neuropsychiatric drug trials, so I was noticing that I'm in this world, in this realm where neuroscience, behavior change, leadership, corporate leadership is all coming together. So just very instinctively, I realized I want to work more in this sphere. So literally, quite literally, as a side passion after work, I would sit at home, I would design my own workshops, I'd design my own ideas for speeches, and I would deliver them in stages like here, like anywhere, Toastmasters, Rotary, just out of passion. There was no idea in the mind for business. And one day, at some random event I was speaking at in the Netherlands, because this is just what made me feel alive, someone from a Fortune 500 company came up to me and said, Sangrita, that was amazing. I'm the head of HR at XYZ company. This is exactly the problem we're dealing with. Could you come and give a workshop for us? And that was a couple of things that happened. One was the aha moment that, what? I can do this for a living? All right, let's go. And the second was, we talk so much about growing our network and meeting new people. The place you're at right now can be full of potential leads. So the room you're in right now could be an opportunity to turn into your future clients. So yeah, I think you're going to get cracking with making new relationships today. Thank you. Just give me love, but don't clap.
Always give me love. Dorletta, what do you think?
The question I would like to ask all of you is, are you all speakers? Yes. Can you all be professional speakers? I don't know. Probably a lot of you are already. Can you teach? Yes. Humans, we can teach one each other, right? Can you be a professional trainer. And that's the difference. You ask, how do you know when I became a professional trainer or when I realized that I was super good? You don't realize that. That is like saying, oh, I cannot speak, so I am a professional speaker. What happened is, in my case, was someone asked me to deliver a workshop, first of all, in a district conference. And I thought, okay, what's about the topic? They gave me the topic, communication skills, and I delivered. And when I finished, people came to me and say, wow, that was super cool, I had lots of food, I learned a lot. And I thought, oh, so maybe I can do it. So you don't become a professional speaker because you believe that you are. You become when your audience tells you, thanks to you, I have been able to leverage my skills. Thanks to you, I got this promotion, or I got a better job, or my wife or my husband listen now to me, whatever it is. And that's when you realize you become professional. When your audience, they say, thanks to you. So it's not, and to be able to do that, you need to not just be able to teach. You need to learn tools and techniques, and they are the things that we actually practice in the European Studies Network.
We're going to get the class to take down eventually, but here we go. So what was that moment for you?
It wasn't a specific moment. In fact, the first couple of years, I didn't know what I was doing. So, when did you recognize your skill? I didn't know I had a skill. Here's the thing, I was pushed into being a trainer. I was working at an internet company, and this was late 90s. And back in those days, they wouldn't look at your trading skills. They were looking at, do you have knowledge? So basically I was asked, okay, you have a lot of knowledge, go tell it to other people. So the first couple of years I was just transferring knowledge, no any trainer skills, communication skills, like trying to see, okay, how can I best get this across? No, it was just data and passing it on. But I loved it. And that's when I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna work on my skill, I'm gonna develop myself into being a training and actually teach people instead of just transferring knowledge that was in my head about how the internet works. So, and I was already I was getting paid because I was pushed in that, you know a lot, go teach it. So I was pushed in that way, and I was getting paid for it. But it wasn't until after that I really understood what being a trainer is about, that I started following workshops myself, going to different types of course, watching other people do it, taking notes, how do they interact, how do they do this? And that's when I started developing the skill and becoming better and better at it. So for me it was a totally different road. I was plunged into the deep sea and I had to learn to swim. And the only thing that kept me going is, I really want to get good at this. So I started with nothing and started developing from there.
Thank you very much. You had it. Everybody had it. Wrap it up. What was your experience?
Yeah, I believe we are all in a learning journey. So I'm still on the journey learning about being a trainer, and I totally resonate with what 𝗍𝗎 just said. It started with me being in love with people and not being afraid of interacting with them and teaching them something. I always train people for some reason. I never wanted to in my previous jobs, in my managerial jobs. Then I wanted to do it more professionally, and I went into coaching. And coaching, I got really hooked up on transformation, and I could see how I could facilitate insight in people and see a change, see them grow. Then I thought maybe I could do it with a bigger impact. I could do it for groups. So I did group coaching. And the group dynamics is something that really inspires me, because people really need people to grow. These dynamics, the way they interact with each other, they see things, they mirror things. And I thought, okay, I can actually train people. And this is a bit more serious than group coaching for me, because you need to have an expertise. So I had to identify my expertise, but still, what I learned is it doesn't matter what expert I am if I don't know how to enable people take ownership of their own growth. So that's the journey I'm in right now, and I just love I love growing, but I even love more seeing other grow. That's why I'm in that journey still.
All right, anybody else? All different paths, all very distinct paths and ways that they got from where they were to where they are now. But they couldn't have done it alone, which is what leads me to my next question. This is really about, a lot of this is about the European Trainers Network, but it's really about community and networking. So my next question, I'm going to start with 𝗻𝗏𝗏, since she has the most direct connection to European Trainers Network. But the question overall is, what community and networking, what have you been involved in terms of community and networking that has moved your training along, and why has that helped? We'll start with you, 𝗻𝗏𝗏.
Okay, I will let you this little secret that actually Bill only found out recently, is that European Trainers Network started in 2006. I joined in 2012. Back then, I was not a trainer, by the way. But I joined in, and I used to be at the back of the room, just observing how the more professional or more experienced trainers they were doing it. With that, in Toastmasters they have a workshop that you can deliver that is called From a Speaker to Professional Trainer, and I did that to get my DTM. And through that, I was able actually to get the job that I have today, because my background is electronics engineering, and then mixed with a train for trainer, it gave me a job as a global product trainer. And I'm not going to tell you my full career, yeah? But when I was already there, it happened pandemic, that you already know, and suddenly we could not deliver training. We lost all the customers. And thanks to the European Trainers Network, they were Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I can't remember. I joined every single one. In less than 2 weeks, I knew how to deliver training online. I went back to my boss and I said, we can do it. I know how to do it. I'm going to train all the trainers. We are getting the customers back. And we did it. And I didn't do it because I knew how to. It was because I learned in the European Trainers Network. So have a community of experts around you, or people that have the passion. You can learn from one another. So when you have a question, you can say, hey, well, I do it this way, and that's how we can grow, because you have these people that will support you and bring you up. And for me, it was the European Trainers Network. That's why I am still in the community, because I own the European Trainers Network, what they gave me. So I give it back now.
All right, very nice. And it's, again, less connection directly with the rest of them to European Trainers Network, but really community and network. And let's just start with 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗁. We'll look around this way.
Sure. Your question was about how did you
Community
build
and
community?
networking, and what helped you
Yeah.
in that.
So for me, there's two perspectives. One is learn from your peers and establish yourself as a part of that community, because I think collaboration trumps competition. And the other aspect is be where your clients are at. It's very important to know who are your target clients, and not everybody is your client, and you're not for everybody. So for me, it was really about distilling down what are my ideal clients, what do they look like, who are they, what kind of people work there, like really go deep into like criminal minds behavioral profiling. You know, do a fun little exercise with yourself, really write it down, and then how can you not just show up there as a speaker or as someone in the spotlight, but be part of that community. So I do that very consciously. I'm visible where my target clients are at, where I'm always there to support them, but also visible, whether it's a speaking role or whatever. And then I'm also where my peers are at, like all of you. And I've been a part of Toastmasters for so many years, and I love cheerleading for all of you sitting in the audience and just clapping away. Because to me, that's also equally important, whether it's cheering for you, learning from you, sharing insights back with you. So I keep it very clear with being part of my peer community and being part of my client community. And that makes life tangible in business.
John, give us your viewpoint.
If you want to be a successful trainer, I firmly believe you have to have a growth mindset. You have to constantly be learning. I think even if you've given the same training 50 times, you've always got to be looking at it fresh. You've always got to be bringing in new ideas. The best way that I've found to have new ideas is to bounce ideas off people you know. So I'm connected with a great network within Toastmasters, with people, Peter Zinn, I suspect many of you know Peter is a very dear friend, Olivia Schofield, Florian Nook, many others. But I also have a network of contacts who are not Toastmasters. I'm part of a couple of WhatsApp groups. So you and I are on one group where there's about 18, 20 of us, and if anybody ever has a question, oh, I've got this issue with a client, or I don't know how to pitch this proposal, or I don't know how to do this training, they put it on, and we all give our advice, and we bounce ideas off each other. I think another aspect of community is don't overlook the online community. I see people here that I connect with on places like LinkedIn, and people have questions, and I will connect with them. And when it comes to sharing your ideas, one piece of advice I would give you, some people are hesitant, understandably, oh, if I give something away for free, are you going to steal my ideas? Your risk is not that people will steal your ideas. Your risk is that people will never know about your ideas. I've been writing my blog, Manner of Speaking, since 2014. I've written almost 1,000 posts, and I've just pumped out information, tips, ideas. It's all free. I've just given it away, and more has come back to me because of that. So this growth mindset, and lean on people when you need to, but be there to help people when they lean on you.
Great life lesson. Irina, what do you have?
Well, there are some people who call themselves party animals. I'm a community animal. I don't know, I'm part of 6 to 7 professional communities, and this is my go-to strategy in life and in my profession and in my business. Actually, Toastmasters community was the one which took me completely out of my comfort zone and shook me when I moved to the Netherlands, and I was already 4 years a Toastmaster in Moldova. And when I saw everyone so ambitious, giving trainings, doing workshops, taking their skills into professional world, I was looking at them and I was like, wow, they really inspire me to do the same. So community, especially when you surround yourself with people where you see yourself in 5 years, that gives you like a real boost of confidence and inspires you. I'm part of professional communities like L&D Shakers, Female Ventures, Tech Connect. I also identify communities and networks where I see I could bring value, I could make an impact. I mostly train tech companies and teams. That's why I'm part of tech communities, AI for all, and this type of community. So it gives a lot of perspective on the field and on how you can bring an impact and serve and how your training abilities.
Okay. And wrapping up, here's Stu.
Here's the thing. Like I said, when I started out, I was really struggling as a beginning trainer. Back in the days, internet was just coming up, so that was not a thing yet. AI was only in the movie The Terminator, and it was a very bleak future. But I really struggled. I started first buying books, and then when I went to my first, at some moment I had an epiphany. So would it be good if I, as a trainer, followed a training on how to do trainings? So I went to a trainer, and I remember very specifically that me and the other participants, we connected and we stayed in touch, and we were exchanging tips and best lessons and best practices, and that made so much change. And from then on, I was always looking up, and throughout the years, it's been more than 25 years, I've been in touch with different type of communities, and it's not about this community is better than the other one. It's just having a platform where you can express, I think a couple of people already said, express your ideas and bounce them off and get feedback. And how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? That makes so much difference in your journey as a trainer. I wish there was something like a European trainer network when I just started out, because it would have saved me so much stress and headache. So it's awesome to have like these types of initiatives and like people connecting with each other. It's very valuable. If you really want to go far and go further, that's the first thing I would do, is reach out to one of those type of communities, or we already have one within reach.
All right, great. So community and networking, and here's a great resource right in our lap. We all have different paths to do that. My next question is about, there are people out there in the audience, I know, from 𝗻𝗲𝗍𝗍 example, sitting in the back thinking, oh, maybe I could do this. And my question to each of you, and we're gonna start with 𝗻𝗍 and just go down the line, what would you say to these people who are thinking, I might be able, could I do this? I don't know. What would you tell these people to encourage them or not? No, encourage them to go ahead with it.
Yeah. First, if you have that impulse, trust that impulse. So trust yourself that you are capable of that. Take it as a learning journey. That would be definitely my first advice. We are never actually there. Even if you consider yourself an expert. I work also a lot with leaders one-on-one, and most of them have the imposter syndrome. And it's not because it's something real. It's because at a certain point, when you are an expert in certain field for a very long time, you have a dichotomy. You think that everybody knows what you know. It's absolutely not the case. It's just your inner track. When you go out there, your personality, your life experience, and your expertise, that combination makes it absolutely unique. So you can always be a very unique speaker, trainer, facilitator. So, and for me, if you love people, if you want to be part of their journey, if you can be humble enough to be the empty vessel through which people can learn, these are the qualities I believe I need as a trainer. And for me also, what is important is not to look at it as you are teaching people something. For me, this is not training. I'm actually gone from the room in 5 minutes if I see someone with a presentation, looking at it and just sharing knowledge without any type of actual training and enabling people and emptying them. So I would suggest that you focus on transformation that you can give to people. How can you enable the transformation happen? So they come with one mindset to your workshop or your training. They empty themselves there and they realize you bring awareness that they need something. You can use different methods for that. And then they leave with the tangible, practical knowledge or something they actually did it and learned it in your presence, and you enabled that. That's what I
Dear Sue, same question. What advice would you give to the folks?
I would say, remember, dedication trumps talent every time. So people are looking for, like I said, asking themselves, can I do it? That's the wrong question. Do you want it? And what I specifically mean by that is, do you want to put in the effort and the dedication to develop this skill? Because if you are willing to learn first yourself, only then can you go on and teach others. So dedication trumps talent every time. Can I do it? It's always the wrong question. It's always, do I really want it? Am I willing to put in the effort that it needs to grow as a trainer? That's it.
Oh, that's simple and sweet. I love it. 𝗻𝗲𝗍𝗍𝗍.
I fully agree, completely. But my advice is the same advice that my first mentor in Toastmasters gave me, is when someone asks you to do something, say yes before saying no. Later on, you can think about it. And yes, I know it's very hard, but if you are at work, if you are working in the corporate world, or if you are thinking in starting your own business, do not even think about it, just do it. And anybody in the team can deliver a training or can deliver a speech, do this. After, you will find out how to do it. Okay? So raise your hand, and then you are like, what I did. And I promise you, the first time is not going to be perfect. The second time is not going to be perfect, but you will improve every time. And the more you do it, the more confident you are, and the more techniques and tools you will have, that you will see the difference, as we say, the transformation. you will stop vomiting information, and you will start, and you will start to fill in the gap between where they are and where they want to go. And we are the ones facilitating them. And slowly, that's how you will become better. So my advice is, raise your hand, just do it, and just every time you will become better. I can promise you that for sure.
Thank
So
you
you
very
can-
much, Dorletta.
I really want to clap. That answer deserves a clap. Okay, to build on whatever the unique answers that the three of them have given, I'll give you three. One, be obsessed. Like not just something that makes you sleep at night, but something that keeps you awake at night. If you want to go maniacal with making this your passion, go for it. It doesn't need to make sense to anybody else. If you're on the, I don't know, on the road for 4 hours, going to a meeting for 1 hour, doing your thing, going back. Because none of you are, I believe, none of us are doing it because we're forced to do this. It's because we want to do this. And that want doesn't always have shape. It's random and obscure, and it's okay. We don't always need to figure out why. And you'll find yourself when you're really, really passionate about it, you don't even ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? That thing doesn't come out. Number two, don't be afraid to speak up for your worth. We are so, I notice this as a pattern, we're so afraid we're gonna lose the opportunity that we lower the fee or lower our value, try to give it away for free. There are opportunities that are free and you should identify them, go for it, but there are opportunities that are paid, and claim your worth. You're worth it, and I have met so many clients, very kind people, who told me after the meeting, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, next time, go 2 times higher. They were the ones who changed the path, and I'm sharing that with you. Don't lower your worth. And number 3, relationships are your biggest currency. Build relationships, not transactions, not contracts, but relationships. You will notice that, for example, just to give you an example, 2019, I gave a keynote. It was well paid. I had a great time. People in the audience, not too many, like you, 100, is this 100? I don't know. And kept in touch. We had a great relationship. There was a time that he asked me to do something at his then company, didn't quite work out. CEO was Silverback, super alpha, I don't need any change kind of mindset. But then he approached me now, 6 years later, with something that's 10 times the worth for the company he's working at. And that's all because of the power of relationships. You're already great at what you do, just nourish those relationships. That's it. Right.
It's that simple. John, bring it home.
That's it.
Right, everything they said. And a few quick thoughts. One thing that I have seen over and over again throughout my career, private sector, public sector as an independent, is that people are hungry for leadership. They are starving for it. They seek it out. And if you're a trainer, you're a leader. And people will respect that. There is a place for you in this business. There is more than enough work. And if you might be thinking, well, you know, I didn't go to law school, I was never speaking in court, or I didn't have engineering experience, or I didn't have this kind of experience or that. I spoke just a few nights ago online to the Professional Speakers Association in Spain. And I told them, I said, you can come to this profession through any number of routes. Each of you has unfair advantages over everybody else. I have a skill set, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has a skill set, Dorletta, everybody here, but so do you. I would encourage you at the end of this session, take 5 quiet minutes and just think, write down 3 skills, 3 assets that you have that many people don't. And that can lead you into this field. I think, second thing I would say is, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's touched on this, there is the training side of it and there's the business side of it. And I'm still learning about the business side of it. There's, you know, invoicing and setting your fee and networking and all of these things, so don't neglect that. And then the last thing, and this, I love your story, what Dorletta said, and it's so true, you've got to take a chance at some point. In 2016, I submitted a proposal to do a workshop at the International Convention in Washington. And my first proposal was to do an improv workshop on a workshop on improvisational theater, comedy for better communication. And I got a call. And I thought they're going to say, well, you know, 60 people, 70 people. And on the phone, the woman said, we're really interested. Could you do this for 1,000 people? And I thought, shit. But then I remember the words of Richard Branson, who said, if you get an amazing opportunity and you do not know how to do it, say yes and figure it out. And I did, and it was fantastic. It was great. So there's going to come a point, if you're going to do this, you got to try. And it won't be perfect, but you'll adjust. You know the saying, ready, aim, fire? I think too many people, it's ready, aim, 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 aim. I think a better strategy is ready, fire, and then aim and adjust.
Thank you, John. We're going to wrap this up, and I want to be conscious of the time. I want to thank each of you and all of you for opening up and letting us into your brain just a little bit, and for giving us all that you've given us. These 5 folks will be around afterwards. Go up and talk to them. If you have some thoughts, you have some questions. I've talked to each one of them, and I've checked them out. They're all genuinely all got my seal of approval. Because that's what this is about. This is about networking. This is about helping people. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to, just give them one last round of applause.